Molweni, beautiful people. This is the State of the Strongable Brand podcast. My name is Lerai, and of course, as usual, I am never ever alone. I am with the wonderful, you know him, you love him. This is his space. Sibumpanza, how you doing?
I'm good. You know, being the most handsome man in Joburg is a full-time job, but I do it very well, friend. I do it very well. The second most handsome man in Joburg is sitting right opposite me. It's the goodest things of guys. Brent, Lindeque, brother, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Not a title that I've ever been introduced by, but I'll take it.
I appreciate it.
I'm surrounded by people that just treat that themselves.
You know what? We're good-looking gents. What can we say?
Okay, if you say so. So, I have got the all-knowing jar in front of me. If you are listening via podcast streaming services, you know what this sound means. As I struggle to open the jar, we're about to play a game called 60 Seconds of Strong.
Okay.
Simple. I will hand you pieces of paper. You have to get through them quickly.
Okay.
In 60 seconds, as many as you can. They each have prompts on them. Finish the sentence.
Just finish the sentence. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Slay queens are Taylor Swift fans. Marriage is loving someone.
Nice.
Solar power is what we need. Oh, gosh. Android is something I don't use. Piano is good music.
Nice.
Strength is kindness. Hip-hop is good music as well. The future looks very bright. Time is money.
One of those.
Escom is... Can I say it on air?
Yeah.
Is up.
30 seconds.
Money. Debit orders are cuck. That's the worst part of the month. Black Twitter is my friend. Unemployment sucks, and it's a reality in South Africa. It's really sad. Dreams are everything, and if we can dream it, we can do it. Instagram is not a great platform anymore. I like TikTok more.
10 seconds.
Being your own boss is the boss. I love being my own boss. The metaverse is where I live. It's where I make my money.
Last one.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys that I've ever been on. Challenging, but also one of the best.
Time. Brent pushed, hey?
How much of a mess was I over?
And then I was there. She was
Friend, you gave me one that was upside down.
Okay, here we go. We're going to do the count.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Where does that stand in like a leaderboard?
Definitely top 5. You pushed through.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I want to start exactly with one of the things you said there. Strength is kindness. And I feel like, I don't know your personal mantras, but from the work that you do, it sounds like it would be exactly it.
Yeah.
Please elaborate on that one for me.
Yeah, you know, I did a panel discussion last night in Cape Town, and we were speaking about purpose over profit. So like finding your passion and finding your purpose over profit. And kindness came up quite a bit, where the crowd was sort of asking, yeah, but sometimes you work with assholes and it's really difficult, and how can you change someone's mindset to be kind? And the reality is, I believe we are all inherently kind. As human beings, kindness is within us. The complexities of what we face on a daily basis make us change our outlook, and that can change our level of kindness. We're all dealing with the most, especially here in South Africa on a daily basis. So whether it's load shedding or we said unemployment there, whatever those challenges are, corruption, crime, whatever, it's a lot to deal with, and that can change our level of kindness. But if we're able to tap into kindness, if we're able to, I don't know, take a step back from a situation, have a breather, don't send that WhatsApp, think about it. Sometimes you can turn that whole situation around just by being a little bit kinder. And majority of the time, I think that more people could be on the receiving end of the kindness. So if it's that sort of altercation, then in an altercation or situation, kindness is strength.
Okay, so now that we've heard a bit of what matters to you and the message that you spread, let's take a step back. And where does the name The Good Things Guy come from? What does this guy do? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so this is twofold. When I got my first corporate job, and I got my first corporate email, I thought about, how do you end an email?
Gotcha.
Like, warm regards. I don't know. Hope this email finds you well.
It never does.
It never does. It never does. So I wanted to share that kindness, maybe without knowing at the time what it would become. But my email signature, and it still says, thanks and only good things.
Wow.
Because I'm wishing you only good things, good things, good things. Then move on a couple of years, got out of that job, started a new job. I actually owned my own company where I worked in sort of the advertising space. We did brand activations, sports sponsorships, really cool stuff, really cool work. There was something happening around the globe. This is 2014. I'm not going to give away my age, but it was 9 years ago. 9 years ago. 2014, January of that year, there was something that had started in Australia and it was sweeping the globe. There were millions of videos being uploaded. It was the first real social online trend that used itself and social media as a catalyst to build itself.
What happened in 2014, Sibu?
What
Do you
was
remember?
Is it
Ice Bucket was earlier.
So Ice Bucket
Was it
came
that time?
after.
Yeah,
Came after.
after. Oh, wow.
After.
Please put us out of our misery.
Out of your misery, it was a drinking game. It was called Neck Nominations.
Oh, I remember.
I wouldn't-
Wow, that's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Long time ago.
Just threw me back.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need y'all to.
Yeah,
What?
that was
Okay, so this is Neck Nominations.
Yes.
Started in Australia. To neck means to drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Aussie land. So there were all these videos and millions of videos being uploaded before Facebook had a video feature. So it was all going onto YouTube that long ago. And all these people were putting up these videos of themselves doing something silly.
Yeah.
So like in one of the videos, there was a guy that took a glass of water and inside the glass were 2 live goldfish. And then he swallowed those goldfish as they were and then took a chug of like gin and then nominated people to outdo what he'd done.
Yeah.
And this was a real thing and it was happening and it was all over the internet. People were doing it. I was watching it from South Africa and I just thought to myself, first of all, why would people put something like that on the internet where it's going to live forever? Like that becomes your legacy, right?
Eating goldfish.
Well, whatever you were doing. Imagine. So I've owned a business and now I own 2 businesses. But when an employee gives you a CV, their name gets Googled. They want to see what you're about. They want to see that background story. What if that's your legacy? You, I don't know, upside down, chugging beer out of a toilet.
Sure.
Naked. That's not what I would want my legacy to be. And I do drink.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, oh, it's bad. Give me a mimosa any day of the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good to go. But I decided instead of drinking to do something a little bit more positive.
Okay.
It was a Friday. I got to the office. I opened up my computer and there was a friend who had done something silly. I'm not going to say his name because he'd be embarrassed. He listens to the podcast. But he'd done it and he nominated me.
We're gonna find you.
We're going to find you. Yeah.
I'll tell them off air, and then we'll make it a mission to find you. And I just decided, let me try and use my social media to do something a little bit different and maybe spread a bit of kindness, maybe.
Okay.
So just before lunch, I went to a local fruit and veg city, and I got an extra sandwich, a Coke, a sandwich, and a Bull Brand. Joking, I didn't, not the Bull Brand, but it's then I saw it. Got a sandwich, a cold drink, and a chocolate with the intention to give it to the next person in need. Not difficult. In South Africa, on every single intersection is someone who is desperately in need, and maybe not even in need of food, just in need of kindness, in need of a "I see you, hello." And so I handed over that little pack, and my colleague grabbed the whole thing on video. Got back to the office. It was the first video that I'd ever uploaded online. It was to YouTube. And within a couple of seconds, it shot to 301 views.
And that is the number. That is the YouTube number.
I thought I'd made it. I was like, I didn't even have 301 Facebook friends. To me, I was like, 301 people watched that video. Is mad? But then it stopped there and it didn't move. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's what it is. It was a cool thing that I did. Lekker. That evening, I went to a friend's birthday party, and she just said to me, Brenty, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe your videos had 10,000 views. And I can't believe that people around the world have started to change their neck nomination into a rack nomination.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know then, but the random acts of kindness movement had just been born.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up the next morning, that YouTube video had hundreds and thousands of views, and there were all these missed calls on my phone. Remember, this is 9 years ago, right? So that number on YouTube is huge. There were all these missed calls, international numbers. I don't know how they got my number.
Yeah.
But it was CNN and BBC and Sky News and all these mainstream media publications that wanted to understand how what I would say a very average South African managed to change a global game. There were millions of people around the world who had decided instead of drinking, they would rather commit acts of kindness. And it was the most amazing thing to watch. It was just, I was watching this thing unfold right in front of my face. It was really just absolutely incredible. What that did is, and this is a very long story, sorry, I should have given you the elevator bridge. Well, if you're in it, you're in it.
I mean, it's...
We're within.
What that did is it made my social media grow quite rapidly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there were these charities and businesses with really good CSR projects and individuals doing really kind things in South Africa that were getting hold of me because they wanted their story told as well. They wanted to tell me their story. And I was like, I want other people to feel the way that I do. Because right now, being in this space where I'm hearing all these good things, for the first time in my life, I don't feel like South Africa's falling over. It's like we get bombarded with so much bad news all day. All of a sudden, I had all these stories that were just, I was swimming in a sea of good news. And I wanted other people to feel the same. So my intention was, Gareth had interviewed me on 5FM while Neck Nominations was happening.
Okay.
And Cliff Central had just started the same year. And Cliff Central is this incredible maverick in what it does, right? 9 years ago, it was saying, we're going to tell stories and we're going to tell them not just on a South African platform, but on a global platform. And I knew that this could be an in to get those good news stories out.
Sure.
So I eventually got hold of his email address. I pitched the idea. I said, I want to tell these good news stories. And I met with him and Rena Broomberg, and we sat down and I said, this is what I want to do. I've never done radio before, but I feel like South Africa needs this. And they gave me a job.
Wow. Just like that. That's amazing.
Gave me a job. And I started with Cliff Central. And I was with the team for 3 incredible years.
Wow.
Where every week I'd come into studio with someone who was a hero from South Africa telling their stories. And during that time, the podcast did really well. Cliff Central was doing really incredible stuff. And they still are. But I wanted the stories to be told in a different medium as well.
Okay.
So a show once a week has only got so much time for content, right? You can only get that one story or those 3 stories or whatever you put into that time. So I started doing a top 5 good news wrap up every week.
Okay.
Which I had to find.
Where are you posting this now?
On my show. On Cliff Central.
Okay.
So I was like, hey guys, this is the top 5 good news for this week. We're going to bring you, this one's doing that, Reach for Dreams doing this, whatever that was. And I wanted that to live in a different space. So I started a Facebook page a year after I joined Cliff Central.
Okay.
It was around July 2015. And that thing blew up, but crazy.
Wow.
The good news was so needed in South Africa that I was sharing this good news and it was being reshared rapidly. So on the 1st of August 2015, I'd been working on it all through July. I launched the website, which is goodthingsguy.com. I like to say that first day I had one sort of reader, my mom, who's my biggest fan.
Shout out, Mom.
All mums are. Shout out, Mommy.
Shout out, Mums.
I love you. And by the end of the day, I doubled my readership because she showed it to my dad. So
I love that.
was on a good wicket.
Good trajectory.
Yeah, that's it. But 8 years later, and on a really good month, when the news is not too bad in South Africa, because that's a whole other story. When the news is bad, people aren't open to good news, so it's difficult for the readership. But on a really good month, we've had over 2.5 million readers come and catch up with the good news. And I say we because it's not just me anymore.
So,
it's now a business. I have a team of journalists. That's why I can be here. They're busy writing the news. And so Good Things Guy was born from the ending of an email and then the evolution of a social media online trend.
I want to talk to you about this from a mental health perspective, because what you guys are doing is incredibly important to me, because I'm the type of person who's on social media a lot, and I am bombarded by a lot of these bad stories. First thing I do, go online, go on Twitter, or I'll go on Instagram,
scrolling.
and you'll just find out last night there was a shooting, there was a this, there was a that. And while I do think it's important to be up to date with what's happening in and around the world, there are those good stories that just go under the carpet. And so what I notice is in my head, I had this dread feeling, of, this is all that's going on. But then I decided, let me change up my social media. I woke up one day and I started following all these positivity pages. And there's so many of them that share just the mundane things that happen in communities, the positive things. And I noticed that it had a genuine shift in my head to read about somebody who saved a puppy, or a kid who did well on a test. Like those things actually do you good in your head. What's the response been like in the past couple of years for you from people reading those stories?
So it has been absolutely phenomenal. And I think, what do they say? Luck is preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'd prepared by having this thing happen to me and sort of being thrown into the good news space. And the opportunity was that it was needed in the country. So yes, the reception has been fantastic. People love the good news. They share it. They engage with it. They speak about it. The platform keeps growing. With that said, the sentiment of the country is heavily hinged on what is happening in the country. The reason for that is something called the spotlight effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when times are tough, when things are hard, when it's a really difficult news day, we tend to zone in on those things, the bad news stuff. And then we don't just zone in on them, we magnify them. So we make them bigger than what they are. And they are big. You're 100% correct. What's happening in our country, what's happening in the world, the reality, the hard stuff, it's important. We have to know what's going on around us in order to not just survive, but thrive. We need to know what's going on around us.
Okay.
But in the same breath, we need some sort of balance. Otherwise, we'll think that it's all just going pear. We'll be like, it's all over. And let's just pack it up. I'm not even going to go to work today. I don't care. It's, you know what I mean? You need that balance of that kid getting the highest mark on the test and getting into Harvard. There's those things that can not only make you dream bigger, because you're like, my kid could do that, whatever that is, but also deliver hope. So vitally important. The reception has been absolutely phenomenal.
I love that.
And I'm so thankful for this thing that I call a gift. Yes, it was created by me, but it was a gift for me to give to South Africa. And I'm just so grateful for that.
Okay, so I'm curious to know and just have a little bit of an insight of the types of people, that you interact with, perhaps not directly, but obviously the social media. But you were speaking about how you've just come from a week of talks down in Cape Town, so obviously you're always interacting with people, and majority of these people are South African, correct? I'm curious to hear what exactly is, like you're saying, what is the view that the people that you're interacting with have on South Africa, what the future of our country is, what it's been like currently, and how do you, as somebody that is there to spread the good things, respond to those things?
So first off, every single South African has a very complex relationship with this beautiful country that we love. Because we do love it. We do love South Africa, with all its challenges that we face on a daily basis. Generally, it's tough. When I get to a talk or when I'm doing a keynote, I know that half the crowd are Africa. I'm not Afrikaans, but Afrikaans is such a descriptive language. They're gutful.
Okay.
And they're tired. They're tired. It's like it can sometimes feel we are in an ocean of challenges, and every time we get our head just above the water a little bit, another wave hits us down. And those challenges are hard to face, and it's a hard reality that we have. So getting to keynotes, I know that at least half the audience is in some sort of bad space, whether they couldn't make tea that morning because they had load shedding, or they couldn't get their kids to school because the traffic was so bad, because whatever it was, they face their own challenges on a daily basis. The other half, or I'd say the other quarter, are in a position where they've cushioned themselves,
Yes.
where they may have solar, they may live in a gated community, whatever that is. So they're sort of on the other side of that. And then there's the portion that are just getting by, I would think. So maybe those are the three facets of people that I speak to. My job from beginning to end is to remind you that not all is lost, that there is still hope, and that South Africa can be what it is meant to be.
Yeah.
Together we can make it what it is. One of my favorite quotes that I use in every single talk that I do, and it's something that is sort of an ethos to our business for all the journalists, is it was attributed to a guy called Fred Rogers, who had a show in the 1970s called The Neighborhood.
Yes.
He was an oldish guy, had this great show in America that brought good things, The Neighborhood. And it's attributed to him, and it says, in times of tragedy, we always need to look for the helpers because they will always be there. And that's one of the things and the narrative that I try to push when I do my talks. Because even though times are tough, even though the news is hard, if you wait just an hour, something will happen. Someone will change it. Someone will do something to either be a helper, a healer, or a hope dealer. And they do. And when we're having that Twitter late at night, you're scrolling, it's so bad, you wake up the next morning, you're seeing all this bad news, shootings, violence. I say to my team, just wait an hour. Just wait an hour. There will be a good news story to come out of that. There will be a helper. There will be a hero. And those are the people that we need to celebrate. Because if we are celebrating them, more of them will appear.
Oof. So what I want to know is, where did this come from for you? This idea of spreading kindness. You spoke about your parents earlier and the fact that they're your biggest fans. Is that maybe where the inspiration came from?
Yeah, so definitely. I had a really, really great upbringing. I grew up in the south of Johannesburg.
Where in the south?
Alberton.
Alberton, stand up. Stand up.
LA, lower Alberton. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. I wasn't some sort of like wealthy kid that went to private schools. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just had a super, super average upbringing. But the people around me, my peers, my parents, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my teachers, my friends, the people that I kept around me make me who I am today and have made me who I am today. What do they say? There's a quote that says, you become you are an average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with.
Yeah.
And so obviously that's 100%. My parents made me the man I am today. And I think, my mom is so kind. She's kind. My mom is that person who will be standing and please, she would hate to hear me retell stories like this because she doesn't want people to know when she does something kind.
Yeah.
But she'll be that person that'll be standing in the queue in the grocery store and she'll see someone in front of her that's sort of buying milk and a loaf of bread and nothing else. And my mom will be like, I'm gonna pay for you, and if it's okay, can I get your kid a chocolate? Because like she's just kind, and for no other reason. She doesn't want anything back.
Shout out Mama Lindeque.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
So that's how I think that's exactly where I got my heart from. And then my dad gave me my zest for life. To live for the now. We only have right now. We are not promised anything more. And you got to live large and you got to live big. You got to be doing everything in your power to help everybody around you do the same. And he's no longer with us. So he's out of here. But we do love him.
He's out of here.
I love him.
He's out of here. He's out of here. He's living his best
time.
He's living his best life in another plane. So I think that was a great combination of 2 parents who taught me 2 very different things, but they've been brought together to make me who I am today.
So I love asking the 5 years from now question, right? But I want to go much deeper. So I'll put this to you. One of my recent, most favorite areas of study right now is this concept called the Afro-pessimist view, right? Which a group of scholars came together around, the 60s, 70s, 80s, when a lot of African countries were gaining their independence. And there was some sort of progress, but then there was no progress because countries aren't going where they need to be. It almost looked like, and there was, a lot of African states were beginning to fail. And I see how we as South Africans, with the current socio-economic and political state of the country, like I'm talking about right now, today, with what we're dealing with today, I often feel it as well, this pessimistic view or feeling when I look at where we are as a country, right? And I mean, you obviously deal with that at a much more, at a micro level, because you're dealing with the people on the ground day to day. But you do, at the end of the day, you are a businessman, and so you can go to the macro level, right? And I'd love for us to engage and sort of bring the conversation to that as a collective of people that honestly, as you mentioned earlier on, we really do love our country. And personally, I've seen bits of the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to go live there.
I love living there.
Okay, I could have a bed there. I could have a bed in LA.
Yeah.
Cool. Not Lower Alberton though. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't want, I want to spend most of my time in South Africa. I love the people here. I love I can't even pinpoint one thing, you know?
Yeah.
So how do we sort of get rid of that Afro-pessimist view that a lot of Africans have on Africa, and it's reflected on the rest of the world because that's how they look at us?
Yeah.
How do we switch that? In 5 years' time, what does our country/continent look like?
So I wouldn't speak for an Africanism. I'm white, so I need to also be cognizant of that, right? But I can speak as a South African. I don't know, I'm 5th or 6th generation South African. I'm here, I'm invested in this country. I love it with all my heart and soul. And from what I see on a daily basis, what I see and what I deal with South Africans that are making a difference for this country, we are on the rise. Yeah, the infrastructure is not that great. Yeah, our political sphere is a little crazy, and we're dealing with all the challenges that come with that. But at the heart of South Africans, we are resourceful.
Yeah.
We are not just survivors, we are thrivers, and we do make a plan.
Yeah.
A great story. So last year I was doing a set of keynotes around the country for an investment company, and we're sort of traveling around to all different cities to speak about how, yes, the economy's bad and we're losing money, but it will come back. It's sort of troughs and peaks, and we got to hold on and all those good things. And I walked into a hotel in the Eastern Cape quite late at night. It was raining, it was quite somber. I was tired. I'd sort of been on stage all day. And I walked into the hotel and I was checking in.
Yeah.
And the check-in was really close to where the restaurant was. So I don't normally listen to other people's conversations. I'm just putting that as
Sometimes they be good.
terms and conditions.
Sometimes they be good.
And I was sort of listening to a conversation that was happening next door. And it was a local community who farmed there, and they were having their dinner, getting together, whatever they were, a couple of people. And they were talking about how excited they were that they were converting their farm from whatever they were farming. I was picking up stompies, so I don't know what they were farming. Whatever they were farming, they were turning it into renewable energy. So they were putting in a wind farm and solar farm to create energy for the city to sell back. So there we go. We're in times of tragedy, look for the helper. Where's that pessimist view? How do we turn it around? We do. It's up to us.
Yeah.
The action starts with us. I'll leave with this because I see producers are saying, wrap up, wrap up, wrap up. I'm going to say this.
You can't wrap up the show. This is our show.
I'm taking over. That's the Brent Bullbrand. No, I'm joking. So there's 8 billion people walking around the planet now. We reached 8 billion last year.
Yeah.
At any given point in time, I would say there's at least 10,000 people thinking a very similar thought to you.
Yeah.
From around the world. There could be someone in Asia that is having some sort of similar thought. The difference between, not you, but the difference between a person thinking something and a person doing something is taking that step forward. That's action. And so if we want to change that pessimist view, if we want to talk about South Africa and make it this incredible country that we believe it can be, it starts with us standing up and moving forward.
That was his message.
That was his message of strength.
South Africa.
I was gonna ask you what's your message of strength to people listening, but that's it. I feel like that's it. Oh my goodness, that was incredible.
What is your key takeaway from today?
My key takeaway from today is to keep doing what I've been doing, is to take in the good news, because the bad news will always be there. It'll never shy away from finding you. The bad news will always find you. Take in the good news.
Before we say goodbye, what's a piece of good news that you heard today that put a smile on your face?
Oh my gosh. So remember, I've been up since 3:30. I
Yeah,
climbed on a
yeah.
plane. I've
It's not even 12 p.m.
no. There was a beautiful story that went viral that one of my journals wrote about. A woman was at an intersection in Pretoria, and there was a man that was trying to sell denims, jeans, and it was his son's. And instead of just brushing him off, and I might get the story completely wrong because I've just
It's cool. We're paraphrasing.
gone over it, but instead of her just looking at him and driving away, she stopped and she said, "What are you selling? Who are you? What's your name? Who are?" Like that human connection moment. And then she put it up onto her social media, and now hundreds of people are funding his kid to go to design school. So that's a good news story, and that in itself, it reminds you of that hope, right? The humanness, the kindness, the connection. I want to add one more thing before we go. Don't get upset with me, producer.
Please do.
You speak about the negative news and the positive news. AI is so advanced right now that if you slow down your scroll for a split second, shows you more of that because it thinks that that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Change what you're looking at, and the things that you look at will change.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't you just love what we're doing right here at the State of the Strong podcast?
The episode should be 2 hours, I feel like.
No, I
Producers,
think
can we
that
talk
would be,
about
that would be slightly pushing it. They
Would
can
it?
just binge watch a bunch of
Fair.
episodes. You
Say
know what I'm
nothing
saying?
else. I'm hearing
take,
you.
Take like 4 because you just need
Yeah.
4 for that. Yeah, 4 for that 2 hours.
Good maths.
You've got nice
Yeah.
key
Keywords.
takeaways from different people. Do
I
know
got
what
you.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you were tuned in via any podcast streaming services, you can't see how cute my cap is right now, but that's okay.
Gamzizo.
Oh.
You've
Are
never-
you nervous?
I mean, I don't know what it is. I know it's Bull Brand. I don't know what else is in there, but you look like an incredible chef. I think you know what you're doing,
Yeah, so we have
and it smells divine.
yes, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, so we have bull brand flatbreads with a side of hummus.
I love me some hummus.
I love me some apple.
It's one of my favorite things.
Kamsa, thank you very much, brother.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so
Let's
much.
dig in.
Thank you.
Since you are a guest, please have a...
Go for it.
Okay, so this looks like it might get a little bit messy.
As it should.
You want me to like slice
Yo, please, I want a bit of avo. You can't have a meal without avo.
You can't. Oh, a man of culture.
And a little bit of hummus.
I love that you said hummus.
That's
instead of-
Hummus.
I say hummus.
Absolutely delicious.
Honest opinion?
Tasty, tasty, tasty. And I didn't know what to expect. Who is the chef? Can I take him home?
I'm going to dig in some more, but if you guys are looking for recipes just like this one and a whole lot of others, go to bullbrand.co.za/recipe. You will not be disappointed. Let me, look at you. You're almost done.
I'm with it. This was the State of the Strong podcast, and I know that you guys definitely learned a few valuable things. And when you stream the other episodes, you're going to take a few other things away.
Yeah.
Sibu, once again, you have been amazing.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us, Brent.
Thank you, guys. And I'm going to stop saying guys because it's not politically correct. So friends is my better title.
I like that. We are friends.
Friends, I must tell you that I have done numerous interviews in the last 8 years. You guys are killer at what you do. You make me feel listen, and I'm not stroking the ego. You're really good at what you do. You made me feel totally at home. So comfortable to open up and chat. I've loved being on this podcast, and please invite me back.
Definitely.
This is not a once-off, yo. I got
nothing
lots
else.
to talk about.
Say nothing else. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Like she said, catch us on the next episode. There will be many more coming up. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you soon on another one. Bye.